Yeah, here we go. I'm Wayne Calk, a chuck wagon cook, and I've been doing chuck wagon cooking for maybe 25 years or so, off of this John Deere chuck wagon, which was actually about a 1978. It's comprised of a couple of different kinds of wagons, a John Deere and a Moline Wagon Works, and part of it was 1878 and part of it was 1911 and part of it was what I actually fabricated to make it and turn it into a chuck wagon. Talking about the wagon itself, back in 2005, this particular wagon was down at the Texas Capitol when Rick Perry was a governor, and Jerry Baird and several others were instrumental in getting a Senate resolution passed proclaiming the chuck wagon as the official vehicle of Texas, just like the mockingbird and the bluebonnet are official bird and flower of Texas. Now we have an official vehicle of Texas, which is the wagon. The wagon was used to feed the cowboys whenever they were going across the trail back in the 1870s, 1880s, up into the 1890s. And a lot of times they were crossing the prairie and there weren't any trees. Consequently, there wasn't any wood to cook with, and they used cow chips that were left from previous trail drives that went across, and they dry out and they get compact and they make a pretty hot fire, but it doesn't last very long. So the fire is very important. If they were going across the area and they knew there weren't going to be any wood, they would put wood that they would pick up from here, there, wherever, and throw it into a leather that was strung underneath the wagon called a possum belly, and that way they had a little bit of wood whenever they could find it. But the fire, they would love to be able to cook every day with mesquite, because mesquite was a hot burning fire and it lasted a long time. That way they wouldn't have to use as much if they had the mesquite. So consequently, if they ended up having to do whatever it was that was alongside the trail. In this aspect, the wagon is important, the fire is important, and the cook and his crew are important. Usually when we do this in competition, we have to have the meal ready by about 11:30 to 12 o'clock. So that means that we have to be there at the campsite. If you're not staying at the campsite, we have to be there about 5 o'clock to get the fire started. You can tell, what have we been here, a couple of hours already? And we're just now getting to where we cook. But we cook meat, bread, beans, dessert, and meat, bread, beans, dessert, potatoes. Yeah. And usually they want us to cook chicken fried steak, which they didn't have on the trail, but chicken fried steak for 50 people is pretty labor intensive. Potatoes are pretty simple. We usually would take a skillet like that and we'd cut the potatoes, like this. Put a layer of potatoes, a layer of onions, a layer of bacon, a layer of poblanos or green chilies, and then another layer of potatoes and so forth. And they don't let us use cheese, so we can't put cheese in it. Can't use milk because they didn't have milk. And one guy put Sprite in his, and dang, it was pretty good. The sweetness of it, potatoes were good. Beans, there's a million ways to cook beans. Cobbler, same thing. Bread, usually it's yeast bread, not biscuits, and that takes a while because you have to mix up your yeast and let it ferment and so forth. Get your flour going, your liquid ingredients, and then you mix those together. Put them in a pan, cover them with a cloth, and a ball of dough about that size, you wait about an hour and a half and it'll be about that size. And then you take it and punch it down, make it all flat, and then you roll it out, and then you can either pinch off the biscuits or cut them, and then that's about the last thing. The bread comes off last. You can save the chicken fries kind of in a hot oven like that, and they'll keep for a good while. This is not your typical peach cobbler. This is a quick cobbler. This is anybody can make cobbler. It's got 3 ingredients. It's got peaches, got cake mix, and butter. And you need to cut the peaches up, and you can do that in a can like that. And you don't want much juice in here, or the cobbler will be real runny. You just add, this is a gallon of peaches, maybe a little bit less than a gallon, and 2 boxes of cake mix. And I just dumped that in on top, and that was it. Now all I'm going to do is cut up some butter to put it on there, which will be the moisture for the cake. Just cut all both of those up and scatter them around on there.
That size?
Yeah. Go ahead and load that top. Don't drop it. See, the coals, just when he put them on there, they were black, but now they're turning white, so they're getting really good and hot now, so they'll be cooking pretty well. That cobbler's just about listo. Let me have another glove. So once you got it ready, you don't have to do anything to that. You're gonna go ahead and coal this bottom, and I'll be making the bread. Eight cups of flour, and I'm putting 4 tablespoons of baking powder. And I need about 2 teaspoons of soda. salt. Kosher salt. Then I'm going to cut in a cup of Crisco. That look like about a cup to y'all?
Yes.
Just cut it in with that little thing till it's just crumbly like crumbles. Sure. And if you've got buttermilk, you can use buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can use just milk and a cup of vinegar. But I've got buttermilk. But on the trail, they didn't have either one, so their biscuits were flour and water. So they were kind of chalky. They were kind of hard. Stir it easily. What does it do with the flour?
What are you missing?
The thing about biscuits, you know how when you open a biscuit, it kind of comes apart in layers. The reason it's layered is because you fold the biscuit like that, and every time I fold it, that's one of those layers. And bread, especially biscuits, you don't want to knead it a long time because it'll get real hard. So I'm just kneading it a little bit. Got plenty of flour there. Get your rolling pin, and I'm rolling this out to be about the size of the pan. Okay? Yeah.
That's easy.
Soak it in the oil, turn it over, and then put it up here on the high side so that the oil is kind of running down. There you go. Now there's a whole bunch of people that say about cutting biscuits, they say that you should press them down like that because it doesn't cut the edges. And they say if you do like this, that it tends to seal the edges. Well, they're full of poop. We've cooked thousands of biscuits, and it don't make a damn bit of difference. And whoever will tell you, I'll argue with them. Kind of push them together a little bit. Not real tight, but we'll try to get as many in there as we can. Ooh, those are going to be some good biscuits. The way I usually cut this, it makes about 37 biscuits. It's not going to make half that because we're so big. Yeah, we can get, see one right here in the middle and one right there. Make it 2 more. You got room for 1?
Squish it.
Save me the center hole and I'll put this little bitty one in there. There's a lot of oil in the bottom of this, but what that oil, get me some paper towels. What they'll do is make the biscuits on the bottom real crusty, but there's a little too much oil. So I'm gonna soak some of that up. Now people are notorious for burning their biscuits. And knock on wood, Skip, do you ever remember a time that we burned them?
Not when you or I or Woods were in charge of it.
Now, I know Sullivan burned them, but...
Yeah. No, there was somebody else that helped us one time, and I don't recall it. I think it was biscuits for dinner.
Usually what happens is you have, you know, 4 or 5 Dutch ovens and you forget what's in them. And you forget to check the biscuits, and when you do, they're already burned. But hopefully we won't burn them. Up in the very bottom.
Yep, time to take it off.
Clean all that stuff out so you can get to that box. If you can't put it in the front, you won't be able to move the box. The bottom should look pretty good. They'll be good. It's pretty clean. So close enough, huh?
You did it?
We'll use the drippings off of this to make gravy, and then we'll put the bacon in our baked potatoes. Get lots of coals, Skip, because we'll be needing them for baked potatoes, biscuits, and the steaks. Get your gloves on and you cook those over there on that trivet.
Put more bacon now?
Hmm?
Should I put more bacon now?
Wait till that gets done.
Oh, okay. Well, the food is mostly over here, but not here.
Most of that is water right there. There's not too much oil in there. And then if the next is like that, we'll add some oil so we'll have plenty of drippings.
Okay, so did women on the prairie really always wear skirts?
Well, they
I mean,
hot pants. That's a quick look.
The bacon's ready.
yeah, I've got a couple of bacons right here.
You want some pinzas or you want those okay?
For right now, these are okay.
One of the advantages of being the chef's helper is that you get to taste some of it.
This was just kind of an afterthought. Green chilies are good on anything, or anything's good on green chilies, so I thought, well, I'll when we cook the steaks, when they get done, we'll have these warm and we'll just lay one of these across the steak.
This from Hutch?
Hmm?
This Hutch Chiles?
I don't know. I got them when I was getting the steak. That was why it was an afterthought.
It just says roasted green chiles. We'll pretend they're from Hutch. What are we selling this from Hutch? You go.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Tell you what makes also a good garnish for a steak is 2 or 3 strips of asparagus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And we take out the seeds because that's where the spice is.
Yeah. I don't think these will be hot at all. They're real meaty, but I don't think they're very hot.
Will it trim it? Wait, actually, that's where it goes.
You ready for?
Turn the thing over. There you go. Take it off the fire. As far as amounts are concerned, I can't tell you how amounts. The main thing you do is you start with oil. You start with oil and then you start putting the flour in it till it gets a consistency kind of like that. That's why I had reserved a little bit of this oil. I still need just a little bit of flour, probably about like that.
Did you use the bacon dripping for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can put it back on the fire.
What oil you mean bacon dripping?
Bacon dripping to make it really good.
The
Right,
grease
oil, yeah.
Off of the bacon.
And how much milk is just debatable. We'll start with that much.
You do it till it looks right, right?
I can still feel a pretty good thickness in the bottom. Beautiful. See how it's getting thicker now? I can already tell I'm gonna need more milk. You can fry sausage crumbly like hamburger is and put that in there. You can put bacon in it, you can put green chilies in it. and you've got the bacon drippings or sausage drippings or just oil, you got to get the amount right for the flour to the oil, because you can't go back and add flour to this now, because all it'll do is get clumps. It won't ever dissolve. So you just kind of have to guess and get it right the first time. You can always add more milk, but you can't add more flour. Yeah. We'll get these going, and as you said, put the onions on top. How quickly is that oil getting hot?
It's pretty hot already.
Good, beautiful. Spatula.
The big spatula, the big spatula. So much in.
All right, we got back into the chuck wagon and the tailgate. We got Skip doing the preparation, which is all fired important, getting everything ready. And especially in this case, we're using T-bones, and you want to make sure that you use very good meat to begin with. If you start using crappy meat, you're going to have a crappy meal. So use good meat. Lucy comes along and is helping us with the spices. In this particular case, we decided we were going to use Jerry Baird's all-purpose seasoning, which Jerry always says, man, it's good on anything that ain't moving. And in this case, of course, the meat ain't moving, and we're using very liberal amounts of his all-purpose seasoning. And once you get it all seasoned and ready to go, make sure your fire's hot. Am I gonna what?
No. Cook the paper too.
Yeah. Just let me buy. Now, if somebody will hang on to these three things and the flour, eventually I'm gonna need them. Glad 8 didn't come.
3-minute roll. 3-second roll.
Okay, bring me the spice. Flour. Hurry, 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 hurry. Spice. I need a little oil. Chili pecan.
I feel like an instrument, you know, it's helping the surgeon.
You can take the flour and the oil back and we're done.
How about the spices?
Yeah, we're done.
Where do you want it?
Just right here.
What?
Is it on the middle?
It's in the middle.
Okay.
What next? You gonna put the plate together? You want to put some potatoes in there too?
Yeah.
Oh, can I flour it? So bring the potatoes over. Is that enough just a shot?
Give me a spoon. Here.
There, okay. Coming back to the plate? Thank you. What else? Gravy? Chili?
Okay, there's your picture. Well, there it is, boss.
Would you like a fork? So
Peppercorn gravy, cream gravy, T-bone steak with pepper and chili pecans, hatch, green chili, and these are baked potatoes. They look like French fries, but they're baked potatoes. Not really, we forgot to bake the potatoes, so we had to make French fries, and this is some, it's just hot. Excuse me. This plate's hot. Some itching plate's hot. The beans are done too. They were done over there. And there's a bit, ooh. That's it. Who wants to eat this first plate?
You do.
Not me.
I will.
Meredith.
You got it, baby.
We did it.